With Kansas City signing Marcus Valdes-Scantling after Tyreek Hill was traded, do you think this was a sign of desperation from the Chiefs overall?
1000%. To me, there is no replacing a Tyreek Hill. To me, there is no replication of what he can do for you on the field. We're talking about a man that has well over 6,000 yards in his first 7 years in Kansas City. We're talking about Pat Mahomes' favorite target outside of Travis Kelsey. We're talking about the fastest receiver in the league. Yeah, MVS is quick. Yeah, MVS had Aaron Rodgers, so he's used to having a productive and high caliber quality quarterback. He's not a Tyreek Hill. He's only got meaningfully about 2 years, maybe three, in terms of his NFL experience to where it actually mattered, to where Aaron Rodgers actually threw to him consistently and gained his trust. There is very little for me to say badly about MVS because I know that he is talented and I know that he for sure has a potential to bring to this team. But when you lose a player of Tyreek's magnitude, that is an immediate gap. That's a big hole to fill. Those are shoes that are impossible for me to say to fill. And I think that that is going to show that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go and have a little bit of a decline season. And I'm only saying that because MVS is literally not going to make safeties go, I got him, I got your back. Like Tyreek demanded an immediate double because anytime he was on the field, in which sometimes it didn't even matter, he blew past your corner and your safety. You had to account for his speed in terms of him blowing right through you. It was very rare that you were able to play man coverage against the Kansas City Chiefs because if it wasn't Tyreek Hill beating you down over the middle of the field or down the sideline, that was Travis Kelsey beating a tight end or a safety all day. Now that you take that weapon away, now that you take some of his other playmakers away, like potentially a Demarcus Robinson, like potentially a Pringle, and now you go and you sign a shell of himself version of a Juju Smith-Schuster coming off of surgery. I think that Kansas City is limited to what they're going to be able to put out there on the field. So again, I'm happy for MVS, and I only say MVS because I always get his name twisted, and Kyle can attest to that. Marquez Valdez Scantling, like I can say it, but when I say it quickly for the sake of the segment, I always trip myself up. So it's a good signing because they needed somebody to fill that spot in terms of they needed somebody quick. But in terms of what that means and how that's going to correlate to the Kansas City Chiefs upcoming season, I don't think it's going to bode very well. And they're going to feel Tyreek's absence very quickly.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's a sign of desperation, but I think there's definitely a sense of urgency when Tyreek Hill was traded, and then this was their backup option to sign Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Now, here's the thing about Marquez. I think that Marquez is a solid receiver overall. Do I think that he's a true number one receiver? No. Is he a number two receiver? No. But I would say that he's a solid three wide receiver because essentially his main purpose, or really the utility that he was used for in Green Bay, he was their deep threat. He was the guy to stretch the field just because Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, like those two were just in sync all the time. And Devontae could run a multitude of routes. He could run short crossers. He could do the back shoulder throws. He could stretch the field. I mean, that's what Devontae Adams presented. When it comes to Marquez, Marquez is largely used as a deep threat option. And I do think that what Kansas City is going to use to their advantage is his size. He is 6'4". This is a big receiver. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to stretch the field with him. He's going to be their guy to take the top off of a defense. Because I think when you look at their wide receiver core at this current moment in time, with Tyreek Hill out of the picture, I think they're going to use Juju as essentially that wide receiver that's going to be focused on those short and intermediate routes, very similar to what Tyreek did. It's just the difference is that Tyreek was the option where you could literally hit the short part of the field, middle part, and the deep part of the field, just because Tyreek Hill was that explosive. With Juju, I think they're going to primarily use him for the short and intermediate routes, and they're going to use MVS for the deep threat. So, and I do think that's where I think Marquez is actually going to have his best year throughout his career this upcoming season with the Chiefs, just because the way that he was utilized in Green Bay, he was at best their third option because you had Devontae number one. I would say that Alan Lazard was probably their number two, and then MVS was probably their third option after that. So I do think that they're going to expect some great things coming from MVS this upcoming season. To what extent it's going to be, I could see Marcus Valdes-Scantling going out there and getting maybe 50 catches, somewhere around maybe like 750 yards, maybe even 800 yards when it's all said and done. But overall, I still think that this offense is going to be explosive. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes, who's probably the best quarterback in the AFC at this current moment in time. You have Travis Kelce, who's probably the best tight end in the game. And then you have decent wide receivers to throw to with Juju Smith-Schuster and Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Granted, is it as good as what they had with Tyreek Hill? No, but I don't think this is like a major drop off. I think it's a slight one, but I think it's something that the Chiefs could be able to work out. And I think it gives Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid a different look, and it gives opposing defenses a different look than what they've been normally accustomed to, which is Tyreek Hill taking the top off of a defense for the last 3 to 4 years when Pat's been the starter for the Chiefs. So overall, I like the signing of Marcus Valdes-Scantling to the Chiefs. I think it was one that they needed to make after Tyreek Hill was traded. But I do think that the Chiefs have a little bit of room to work with here. They got 5 draft picks back from the Dolphins with that Tyreek Hill trade, and I wouldn't be surprised if they look to draft to possibly get another wide receiver in this year's upcoming draft. But overall, I think Casey might take a slight step back from this, but I don't think it's as dire as Kevin makes it out to be. But I think overall, I think the Chiefs are going to be all right when it's all said and done. That's just how I see it.